I'd love to learn a little bit more about the digital transformation maturity model, kind of what that entails and how it's been able to help guide Lima Consulting Group, but also its clients.
I think it starts in data. And there's an x-axis and a y-axis, right? So how are you using data? And there's 5 levels, and I won't go into the academic terms, but I'll just say you start with just collecting it in phase 1. And then when you get to phase 2, you start identifying causality. If I push on the organism over here, something over here happens. Maybe I put more ads on Google AdWords and I get more sales. When you get to the 3rd level, well, that one there, if I actually know this keyword or this particular action, this campaign, this web page actually resulted in that sale. But to do that, I got to connect a bunch of systems, including profit and loss systems and systems that have the invoices and the orders all the way back to the early systems like advertising systems. And once I have that, well, guess what? You have an equation. And what can I do with an equation? I can optimize it and I can automate it, and that's the 4th level, right? And so at that point, I can prescribe. It's the prescription phase. And then from there, once we can automate the equations, we can let the machines start looking more into the AI and the machine learning and to build additional campaigns and artifacts and content, as well as doing the analysis and the information gathering. So the 5th phase is the cognitive phase. And we let the machine start to figure these things out. So those are the 5 phases of how to use the data. The y-axis is what do you do about it? And we basically take data and turn it into information and take an action. And then there's this exponential curve of automation. And that curve of automation, along the way, there's around 80 different things that many organizations could do. You don't need to do all of them, but most organizations are going to need to do some subset. And how do they get started? Where are they right now in terms of their data maturity, their actionability, right? What are we able to action against? So you might have a high degree of maturity of your data, but because you had 3 PhDs, it doesn't mean you're going to earn anything, right? You got really smart, but you don't have the ability to execute. That's the y-axis. And so what we'll do on this curve of automation is we'll order the little dots on that curve in the right way that makes sense for the way that that company wants to launch their business model. And that's a big innovation. Business models are changing too. I mean, have you been to Panera recently? You can subscribe to your coffee, right? I mean, how many organizations are changing the way that they make money, right? And so just helping to do the scenario planning with a lot of these companies is a great place to start to understand what business model do they want to adopt. And that's why I like that concept of creating the digital future. Because organizations have many options in front of them. Only problem is, like all of us, even big companies, they don't have capital to launch all of them at the same time. So which one should they start with? And is there an order or a progression so that if there's a vision of maybe a final model they want to get to, that they can move incrementally in a way that makes sense and avoids having any throwaway dollars in any misguided projects or projects that might just be one-offs, right? So in a nutshell, that's the digital transformation maturity model, really as it relates to customer experience.